How is it going, folks? Stu here. Listen, I am well and truly aware of the fact that we are more than halfway through May, but April happened, didn't it? And what a month it was, eh? Trying to think. I went to LA. How did I just forget that? I just forgot that I went to a different continent. Had maybe the world's quickest trip to LA over 4 days for the most spontaneous and last minute work trip, which was an absolute hoot. But up until that point, which was the end of the month, it was pretty much just a normal month, wasn't it? Anything else big happen in April? Well, I've looked up biggest news stories April 2023, and they are just Israel-Palestine conflict, Russian invasion, Allied Democratic Forces insurgency, 20 people are killed after Islamic statement. I think I just went down the wrong hole on the internet there. This video isn't supposed to be acting as a reminder of the terrible atrocities that are happening elsewhere in the world. Instead, we're going to go through the films I watched in April. I did manage to top March's 8 films by a grand total of 1. You can hold the applause for later, but for now, should we get into everything I watched in April? My sweet butternut squashes. That is legitimately my vegetable choice at the moment. Butternut squash, roasted, some chickpeas, on a bed of couscous, tomatoes and cucumber. Now you're talking my language, my friend. I'm getting sidetracked, aren't I? So, April, or as the French call it, L'April. That was a month that happened, and here are the films I watched. Look, it's a nice, decent chunk of films that I don't need to scroll through because it's nice and succinct. Before we actually get into this, though, I keep forgetting to do it. Go follow me on Letterboxd, go follow me on my socials, hit subscribe if you want to see this every month. All the links are in the description down below. Surely that's the quickest I've got through that. Also, before we get into this, I'm suddenly feeling like I really need a drink and I need something to sip on. Right? I ain't catch up without a beverage. Give me 1 second. Okay, much better. Beer in hand. Actually though, non-alcoholic beer, right? These things are getting surprisingly good and don't leave me feeling like I want to end it all the next day, which is always a benefit. So grab yourself a beverage as well. I'll see if I can even slightly open this can. What is going on here? Oh, that is... Ow! That was supposed to be a fun thing to do, cracking open a bit. That just left me in pain. Should we get on to the month? I think we absolutely should. Number 1, the first day of April. Weirdly, I feel like it's kind of rare that I get straight into the month watching a film, so I already feel like I should get some kind of pat on the back for that one. We start things off with Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, which I was just sort of like mildly impressed with, I guess. Everyone started saying it was quite good, so I went and saw it, and it was fine. It was all right. I enjoyed my time with it. Fun. Chris Pine is Gary from Team America. It's getting ridiculous. He is just Gary from Team America, and at every point in this film, it's all I could think of. I don't really have a huge amount to say on top of this, really. I was going to get some thoughts on the channel for it in some shape or form, but ultimately, I just kind of feel like forgot about the film a little bit after a while. Had some fun laughs in there, didn't take itself too seriously, enjoyed everyone together. I think the comedy was more cringe than it wasn't. CGI was definitely questionable at some points as well. Some people weren't particularly great in the film, but hey, it did what it said on the tin, right? What more could you ask for? 3 stars for Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. Then second up, they're doing like a A24, I think 10 years or so of it at the cinema around here. I think all cinemas in the UK, not just around here. So we took our bums over to watch Moonlight, which is of course Barry Jenkins' sophomore feature that came out in, 2016? At the same time as La La Land, and then got, given, not given the Oscar. What a palaver. Not only one of the best films of the past 15 years, but one of my favourite final acts ever. The whole diner scene is just holy good fuck. I truly think this is one of the best final scenes of a film maybe ever, like in a subjective and objective term. I'm going to say it. Anyone that disagrees is wrong. There is so much chemistry between those 2 men in that diner. I want to rip my heart out. Obviously, Barry Jenkins, amazing director. This is my favourite film of his. I don't really feel like I want to say much else. It's just sublime. It's wonderful. It's everything that everyone has ever said about it and more. 5 stars for Moonlight. Then on a third, I actually just want to stop to say I've watched a film every day up until the 3rd in April, which is just unlike me. I'm doing something good here. Appreciate the 3 days. It's nothing to really get excited about, but I'm taking all the pat on the backs I can get today. Third, I watched Rye Lane, which is a British rom-com about 2 people that fall in love, would you guess? I didn't actually think this looked that great from the trailers that were being shown before. But then people were saying, hey, this is one of the best rom-coms we've had for years, one of the best British rom-coms we've had for much longer than years. So I got quite excited for it, and I think maybe that's what I suppose, held this back in the end for me, because ultimately I had a good time with it. I clicked with it, and I think it was really charming and had a nice personality. But it wasn't really doing anything that I haven't seen done before. Style and vibe is the main win here, but I feel like lots of it was pretty standard stuff and never really nailed what it was going for. There's some strange coverage in here and editing which felt choppy when it was supposed to feel quite fluid and energetic. Now, yeah, it just bugged me more often than not. 3 stars for Rye Lane. It is on Disney Plus now, I think, so I really am excited to kind of check it out again and see if I warm to it a bit more, if I can watch it with a little less of a everyone's telling me this film's great, so I must love it mindset, you know? Bang a cameo in there, it's worth saying, which I won't spoil, but if you've seen it, you know the cameo I'm talking about. That was fun, hey? I like seeing people that I know. Not that I don't know him, you know, that I've seen before, right? God, I'm not that exciting. But I'll tell you what is exciting. It's not watching a film for 11 days, which is exactly what I did after the 3rd of April, because it took me until the 14th to watch the next film. What was I doing? Probably something that wasn't watching a film. But that film on the 14th was How to Blow Up a Pipeline, which I've been incredibly excited about for a while in quite a rapid time frame. I didn't really know much about it, and then suddenly I was seeing things, I was like, this looks like my kind of vibe, huh? So I went and saw it, and sure enough, absolutely my kind of vibe. I think at the time I saw this, it had quickly just jumped to my favourite film of the year at that point. God damn, this was great. Lean, mean, vital thriller filmmaking with a relevant eco edge. Felt a lot like an angry freaking 70s ticking time bomb thriller, and naturally, that is 100% my shit. Yeah, just everything about this film really just ticked that kind of grungy 70s thriller box. I loved the editing and the pacing of this thing. I loved the score of this thing. I still listen to it and it's just slaps. It's good working music. Although every now and then it makes you sort of want to get up from your desk and do something bad. But yeah, just a real good kind of angry, driven thriller that never overstays its welcome, is nice and tight and succinct as well where it needs to be. 4 stars for How to Blow Up a Pipeline. But after that, I ended up going to LA, didn't I? Just like I mentioned at the beginning. It sort of came out of nowhere. I think it was a Monday. And my boss was like, hey, do you want to go to America? And we had a chat with the client that day, and they were like, you're going on Thursday. Pack your shit, Stu. But you know what a trip abroad means? Plane movies, baby. But I took the time to catch up on some films that I absolutely should have seen before, but I haven't yet. And the first one of those was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. I'm sure I don't need to explain what it was. It was a Nick Cage film in which Nick Cage plays himself, and he gets sort of like kidnapped on an island by Pedro Pascal, and, you know, fun, hilarity, action, comedy stuff ensues. And it was completely through the middle. Absolutely bang average fine time. The first half, the opening, the setup, I quite enjoyed. I found like the joke was a little bit obvious, obviously, because it's Nick Cage, so you can guess exactly what the humour of this film's going to be like. And it is, and it does that, and it was kind of fun to start with. And then the film just kind of keeps going, and it's just sort of like watching the same scene over and over again. Very much just shit happening, which is fine for this sort of thing, but I don't know, I think there was still an infinitely more interesting and fun way to do this. Good flight watch though. Yeah, it did the job of like keeping me entertained for long enough to not make me feel about the fact that I've got another 10 hours ahead of me on a flight, which I just don't want to be in this giant tin can. I don't like flying, it's not fun. But did it do the job of being a great film? No, it did not, sir. 2.5 stars for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. More like the completely average weight of a completely average talent. I do need to get better at my puns. Then the next film I watched directly after that, because who'd have thunk, I'm still on a plane. I'm still way too high up in a tin plane. I watched Clerks III. Now, I have to be honest, I fell asleep. Let's get it. I just fell asleep in this film. But I kind of feel like I saw enough to know, you know, what a general vibe of this film was to put it on Letterboxd. But maybe there are some of you that are going, Stu, that's completely nuts. I had to log something. Look, I just want to beat last month by 1. So I put a film which I watched half of. Had a lot of gags and character stuff that did tickle my Clerks fan once, but I was constantly just sort of thinking it should have been left alone. I'm a fan of the first 2. I'm sure I don't need to explain that. This one, I don't know. I just was hoping that it would be a bit more kind of like, oh yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this again. And I kind of had that for about 5 minutes, and then I just sort of felt like I want to watch the others, not this one. Maybe it gets amazing in the second half, though. I definitely will be rewatching to actually get some concrete thoughts. This may change entirely, but it's there for now, and it's a 2.5 stars for Clerks III. Then on the 27th, I watched Beau's Afraid, and listen, I haven't rated it on Letterboxd, but I have logged it, but I'm not going to give you any thoughts yet, because depending on when this video goes up, my full review should be on the channel, maybe in like a day or 2, right? So just like hold out on that, right? This is a tease. You'll find out what I think about Beau's Afraid soon. Beau's Afraid has a out of 5. That was meant to be like a, you know, like a teasy, ooh, mysterious, but it just sounded like someone put a finger up my bum. We will move on swiftly from that though, because this is a strictly PG channel. Next day, on the 28th, I watched Miami Blues, which is a film I've never seen before, and I actually kind of didn't know about until I saw it pop up as one of the new releases from new Blu-ray label Radiance Films, and I thought, hey, I want to get that Blu-ray. And I shit you not, it was pretty much almost 95% because the cover was pink and kind of just made me immediately go, ooh, like I'm seeing that before everything else on the page. Click buy. This film ripped hard, way hard. Just an awesome time. Loved the colours, loved the look, fleets between tones so well and is anchored by great turns from both leads. Big props for the most outrageous finger/machete prop gag I've seen in ages. Yeah, I mean, so much to unpack there. Awesome looking film, just got that real kind of 90s Miami color palette. That sounds like an entirely obvious thing to say, which doesn't actually mean anything, but I'm going to stick with it anyway. It never lets down, it fleets between being really funny and kind of like quite moving and somber and touching, I guess, at some points. But yeah, my main takeaway was that there's like a bit where someone's fingers get cut, and it really, I don't know what it is about that scene or how it was done, it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, damn, that is a practical effect. I feel like this is going to be added to one of those sort of classics that I can absolutely come back to and rewatch whenever I'm feeling like I need to watch something just loose and pulpy. It's going to be a great hungover watch in the future. I feel a little bit, frankly, appalled that it's taken me this long to get around to it, but 4 stars for Miami Blues. Then I actually, this is maybe controversial for last month on Letterboxd, but on the next day, I actually know for a fact I watched another film, but it stopped buffering about 30 minutes in, so I didn't log that one. Do I just tell you what it was, or do I log it eventually when I get around to I don't know. It was Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny. Consider this a fucking phantom addition to the month or something, just snuck in there, that I'm going to briefly touch on, but you never actually got put on Letterboxd. This is the juicy stuff that you're all waiting for. Listen, Tenacious D, rip. I always kind of used to love Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny. I hadn't seen it in years. We thought we'd watch it. Still rips in the way I wanted it to rip. I only watched about half an hour of it, so I want to watch the whole thing, you know, in its entirety to really know whether it's aged well or not, or whether it still sits where it should sit for me. There are definitely aspects of it that have not aged as well as I was hoping they would in my mind, but look, it's still fun, Tenacious D stuff. I don't know what else to say. Probably my favourite Jack Black stuff is Tenacious D, and it just fucking, like, it does shred. Like, the music, I love the music in Tenacious D, Pick of Destiny. Just a fun time, eh? And I watched it after I got back from LA, and, like, they were on Santa Monica Beach at the beginning, and I could go, hey, I was literally just there. But the final film I watched in April was Shotgun Wedding on the 30th of April. This is a rom-com starring Jennifer Lopez and, who the hell is the guy called? I know his name, I do, it's there in the back of my head. Josh Duhamel. Hey, well, Josh, I was certainly wishing you would do a lot more than Mel. Look, this film was kind of fun. I kind of enjoyed it. It was exactly the kind of rom-com that it sets itself up to be, and then it does all of the things it sets itself up to do, and that's going to work to varying degrees depending on how much you just enjoy formulaic rom-coms. Completely bang average run-of-the-mill action rom-com elevated by Coolidge. I had fun. 2.5 stars for Shotgun Wedding. I kind of feel like it should be a 3, actually, you know? I warmed to it. I'm going to give it a 3. I'm changing it. We're changing it. Take that. The past. Huh? You're nothing. You're editable. You don't mean shit, mate. And that is the end of April. Ladies and gentlemen, April. It was a nice, cute little month there, wasn't it? You know, nothing too amazing, other than Moonlight, which is obviously incredible, like an all-timer. So I don't know why I said nothing too amazing. There was absolutely something too amazing in there. I guess it just was, it was overall, it was a good month. It weren't anything special, nothing to write home about. On to the next one, though. Let me tell you, May, is a beefier month. I sound like I'm getting drunk, but this is 0%. There's no beer in this. There's no alcohol. 0%. I'm just a guy looking at his Letterboxd, getting drunk on the past, baby. Ain't that the truth? If I could crack this open again for that, I would have just cracked it right there. Listen, what did you watch in April? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments down below. Didn't mean for that to sound, you know, that threatening. Just do it. And of course, if you've got any recommendations of films you want me to check out that you feel like I dig, that you feel like you just want to see me say something about, let me know in the comments as well, and I'll add them to my watch list, and we'll see if we can get round to them in later editions of last month on Letterboxd. I will preface that by saying that I'm like notoriously terrible at actually getting through my watch list. So, you know, do with that what you will. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me talk about more shit, and you want to see this video monthly, because I do these every month, hit subscribe. Links down there, you know what to do with it, as well as all the links on my socials, my Twitter, Instagram, and my Letterboxd, which is what this all was. Go follow that if you don't want to watch these videos and just want to see it like you would normally see it on Letterboxd. It's not as fun. You don't get, you know, this questionable jokes for the whole thing, but you do get the thrill of opening the app and going, and like maybe sometimes you read a review that's kind of funny and you get like a little nose exhale. It's the thrill of Letterboxd.